Okay. Right, are we finally there? Okay. I'm just going to do a quick audio test because I just spent about 20 minutes trying to figure out how to get the audio working on this, so I'll just make sure that everything's fine. Oh, got a bit of lag there. Okay, let's just check that out on the stream. I'm just going to do a quick audio test because I just spent about 20 minutes trying to figure out how to get the audio working on this, so I'll just make sure that everything's fine. Okay. As far as I can tell, that's okay. Please let me know if there are any problems, and I'll do my best to fix them. I'm just gonna just give it a couple of minutes for people to arrive. I'm gonna tweet this out. Hello, Rhyme Time and DerrioWay6. Don't recognise your names. Don't think I've seen you on stream before, so welcome. Eli, I think I've seen you on stream before, maybe? Hi. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes for more people to arrive because I'm a bit later than I said I would be. I had a little bit of trouble with the audio. I'm just such a boomer with these things, I can never figure out how to use the streaming system. I mean, maybe if I did it every day I would figure it out, but... Okay, so I have a list here of everything I'm going to talk about today. That's my shopping list. There we go. Yeah, I don't know if the music is going to be appropriate, but, you know, it's Ori. It's my thing. Okay, so I am also recording this, so, I mean, YouTube will put this up anyway. If there are any edits that I have to make for whatever reason, then I'll go back and edit it and I'll re-upload it. Because I'm recording this as a full thing. I've never done anything like this before. I usually like to keep my tutorials sort of very well structured. But I figured it's been a while since I released a video, and I've done a lot of coaching. And a lot of similar threads keep coming up in coaching. So I figured, why not just stream about it? You know? Yeah, I can understand why you got bored with Aegis, yeah. Okay, so I think I'm going to get started now. We've just reached double figures of viewers, so that should be just fine. So, yeah, like I said, this session is going to be mostly devoted to the most common things that I see when I'm coaching somebody to play Zero Suit. So I must have coached something like 40 Zero Suit players of different levels by now, and there are certainly like a lot of things that people have in common, a lot of common mistakes. As well as just mistakes, I'm going to be going over general gameplay plans. I feel like I'm well studied enough in this now to have a good go at it. I used to avoid telling people exactly how to play her and just told her how the moves work because I thought that it would attract ridicule, but I'm feeling more confident now. So I'll also be taking any questions that anyone in the chat has at any time. Feel free to interrupt with any question whatsoever about Zero Suit because I will likely just keep talking for ages otherwise. So yeah, I think let's get started. So, the number one thing that I pretty much always have to talk about first thing when I'm coaching someone with Zero Suit is stage control. And this is something that's common to all characters in Smash. This is fundamentally how Smash works as a game, but I do think that it's particularly important to Zero Suit. So stage control is all about you having as much of the stage to yourself as possible and keeping your opponent away from the center of the stage. So Zero Suit in particular, she always wants to be holding the middle stage, and like I said, this is something that's common to all Smash characters, but there are certain things about Zero Suit that make it more apparent, and it makes it bad when you don't do it. So, for one thing, for Smash in general, it's better to have the middle stage because, of course, you are hitting your opponent in this direction, which means that your opponent is going to be closer to the blast zone. And then, if your opponent hits you, you're further away from the blast zone, so you're less likely to die at a low percent. So you can get hit at higher percentages and you won't die, and you can hit your opponent at lower percentages and they will die. So that's something common to all characters. But of course, Zero Suit, a lot of her most powerful killing options will kill off the side. So, I mean, the most obvious one, which doesn't exactly kill off the side, but I could just put myself on 40%, not him. Yeah, the most obvious one that doesn't kill off the side, but you have to be at the side for it to kill, is neutral air flip kick. So, obviously, this will not work if you're over here. It'll only work if you have your opponent cornered. And Chrom falls fast, so I need to turn that up a little bit. Okay. But then, of course, there's a lot of other things. So, boost kick, even though it's an up special, even though Zero Suit goes up when she does it, it's predominantly a lateral kill move. It kills off the side. It's very easy to DI it so that you don't die off the top, contrary to popular belief. So, hang on, if I just grab the controller for Chrom here. So, that's wrong. So, if I just pull him over here, and just crank this up to, I don't know, 130. All he has to do is DI down and he won't die. Whereas, if you have him in the corner, this will kill at... I mean, it'll definitely kill Chrom at 90. Okay, so... Stage control, most important thing for Zero Suit. And it's not just because of kill moves, it's because of how she moves as well. So Zero Suit typically wants to keep her opponent at roughly this kind of distance. Somewhere between her neutral air distance and her Zair distance. And the reason she wants to do that is because that is where her threat bubble is, and if you stay somewhere between neutral air and Zair distance, you will be able to react to how your opponent moves and decide which of the two to use. So if your opponent is keeping their distance, if they're a zoner, you're going to be using a little bit more of Zair. And if they're coming at you, you're going to be jumping around this distance, and then they'll run or walk in, and you react with Nair. Okay? So this is particularly obvious when you're playing a character like, when you're playing against a character like Lucina. Say, like, you want to stay at roughly this range, between Nair and Zair distance, because that keeps you out of range of Lucina's sword, and you can just poke with Zair, and if she comes in close, you hit them with Nair. Anything else about stage control? So the reason why this is so frequently a problem with Zero Suit players, I think, is particularly when you're playing online, it's very tempting to use Zero Suit's superior mobility to just go all over the place. And I see this so often. It's like people get scared of something, they just run away, and you know, they're just doing whatever over here, while I'm in the position that Chrom is in, coming towards the center of the stage, taking it for myself. And what that means is that, yes, you may get the odd stray hit, you may get a forward air, or whatever, but it will be a forward air from this position, in which case, like, I don't really care if I get hit by that, and nor does any other Zero Suit player. As a person playing against Zero Suit. So Izzo actually mentioned this in his Art of ZSS video. So Zero Suit is particularly unthreatening from the corner. There's just not really a lot that she can do that's scary. If she hits you with a neutral air, like even a relatively high percent, it's difficult for her to get a follow-up off of that. It's quite DIable. None of her moves will really kill particularly early. Like up smash will kill at maybe 130. Boost kick, side B, they're not going to kill until 150. So the only thing that she really has is her forward air, and again, it's not going to kill. So she either has really high risk moves for her, like she has a grab, up smash, boost kick if they hit your shield, or side B, which takes ages. The only thing that she can do that's relatively safe from the corner is forward air, and again, like, your opponent should not be scared of being hit by that. So stage control is just incredibly important for Zero Suit. Everything that she gets from being in the center of the stage is amazing, and everything that she gets from being in the corner of the stage sucks. So, more so than probably most characters, she desperately needs to be in the center of the stage. And I think people have this misconception of Zero Suit being a camping character, which, like, she can camp and she can time out, but camping does not mean that you're running away from your opponent, like putting the maximum possible distance between yourself and them at all times. If your opponent is at the corner, you don't run to the other corner. You keep the pressure up here, and you basically camp in their face, and if they manage to break in to your zone, then you can retreat a little bit with your dangerous neutral tools. Okay, so I think that's enough about that. Right, so I'm going to move on to objectives. Hang on, let me just get my jacket. I'm a little bit cold. It's Scotland in December, people, okay? There we go. Right, objectives. So, this is another thing, this is from an older video of Izzor's, which is something that I really like that he said. I know, I'm going to stop talking about Izzor in a second, it's fine. So this is a video that he made from Smash 4, where he talks about characters' primary objectives. So, if you were to list like a Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as it were, for winning a game of Smash, so obviously, like, at the top you have win the game, and then beneath that you have take the stock, beneath that you have do damage and acquire stage advantage, and then beneath that you have neutral. So every character, pretty much every character, the thing that they need to do at the start of the game is damage, and that is their primary objective. Anything else doesn't really matter. So what does that mean? Well, that means that there are certain moves that you really want to hit your opponent with, and certain moves that don't really matter. So, if we start the game with both characters at 0%, Zero Suit is not looking to hit the opponent with a forward tilt. She doesn't want to hit them with jab. She doesn't want to get grab, because that doesn't really lead into at much percent, because there's no tech chasing at that percentage. So that was an accident. So what's she want to do? Hang on. Okay. Yeah, so what does she want to do? She wants to land neutral air. If I can actually do the combo. Okay. He keeps going behind me now. Okay, I can normally hit this. This is embarrassing. There we go. Okay, so this is all guaranteed stuff. Oh, hang on. It's because I'm playing on the actual stream thing rather than my monitor. There's a delay. Okay, so anyway, she wants to hit neutral air at 0%. More than anything else, because it will lead into a guaranteed 30%, possibly more if she pushes the advantage further. And neutral air is pretty much always the move that Zero Suit wants to hit at all times, like until maybe 90%. Neutral air is Zero Suit Samus's primary objective, and everything else is secondary. So when you see Zero Suits spacing with Zares, or doing jabs up close, or forward tilts up close, or getting grabs, these are all things that she's doing to play around the objective, because obviously, like, you can't just always be spamming Nair, because your opponent will just shield it, they will get used to the timing, and they'll parry it, and they'll punish you. So you can't always be spamming Nair. So you have to play around what your opponent does, and you have to condition them into moving how you want them to. But everything is eventually with the goal in mind of hitting the opponent with neutral air, because it leads into everything. It won't lead into that on Cron, but yeah, it leads into all of her combos, but all of her most high damaging combos as well. Hang on, I'm actually just going to turn the music down. It's a bit loud. It's distracting me. There we go. Okay, so quite a lot of the time when I'm coaching Zero Suit players, I basically just see them running around the stage, not caring much about stage control, and hitting their opponent with moves that they don't really care about. And this is particularly obvious if you play the Ditto. So, for instance, sometimes I'll play the Ditto and I will get hit, you know, I will lose neutral effectively twice as often as they do. And it doesn't matter, because the times that I win neutral, I'm hitting a neutral air. And it gets a heck of a lot more damage. So, things will change at higher percent, and I'll talk about that later. But particularly at lower percent, your primary objective is always to hit a neutral air, and everything else is secondary. Everything else is playing around the objective to get the opponent to do what you want. Because you can't always be spamming Nair, because your opponent will just learn to avoid that. So you've got to mix it up, but everything has to be with the objective in mind of hitting that neutral air. So, having talked about neutral air, it's time to talk about Nair flip kick, which may seem like a bit of a jump. Like, why am I talking about specific combos already? Well, it's because Nair flip kick is essentially, it's by far the most dangerous thing that Zero Suit has. It works on hey on Nepsis, how you doing? So it works on pretty much all the cast. Like a lot of the some of the fast fallers can avoid it by DIing down. So Chrom actually can at lower percentages. But it works on most of the cast. It kills insanely early. It comes from a relatively easy to land and safe neutral tool. It's reactable, so you can react to the Nair hitting and just go for the flick kick, so you don't always have to just do the flick kick immediately. It's by far her most dangerous thing. So what does that mean? Well, that means that the opponent is always going to be trying to avoid it. And that influences what happens in neutral. Because everything that your opponent does, if they know what they're doing against Zero Suit, will be to avoid that thing. Because when they're at 30 to 60%, that is the thing that they will be most scared of, and everything that they do, the way that they move, when they choose to shield, which attacks that they throw out. If they're a capable player, these will all be playing to avoid the Nair flip kick, because they don't want to die at 50%. So this is why her corner pressure is so important, because it's such a huge part of her neutral game, because Nair flip kick is her most dangerous thing. And everything that you do when your opponent is in the corner has to threaten the Nair flip kick. You can't just forget about it. If you're doing this in the corner, or this, whatever, if you don't have the neutral air in mind, if you're just throwing those moves out without really thinking, your opponent is not going to be scared of you in the corner, and they're just going to throw out attacks until one hits. So you can use all of these moves, but they're all about playing, again, it's all about playing around that neutral air. So for instance, if your opponent is super scared and they're just shielding in the corner, and eventually, you know, they might jump out of shield trying to get out of the corner, you can throw out forward airs, back airs, whatever, to try and catch those things. But eventually they will have to move forward, and while they're moving forward they can't shield. So a dash forward typically has about 10 frames of vulnerability. They can walk forward and you can shield on frame 1, but again, you have to react to it. So all of your corner pressure has to be based around hitting them with that neutral air, and you can do all sorts of things to mix up the timing. So you can throw out random attacks to catch whatever. You can throw out a side B if you think that they're just going to stay there and you can hit their shield. But what you really want is the Nair flip kick. Am I on Metify? I am not on Metify at the moment because I actually couldn't figure out how to get on Metify. But maybe I will at some point. I'm just going to have a drink. Okay. So, let's move on to grabs. Okay. So, the first thing I'll say about grabs, which has to be said pretty often, is when you're in the corner, going for a grab is an incredibly risky option, obviously. But it's amazing how often people do this when they get fed up with their opponent just shielding all of their attacks out of the corner, and they just desperately want to get the grab and throw them off stage. It's something that you can do in extreme situations. If your opponent is just not getting hit by anything else, and again, doing something really random can sometimes work, but you always have to be aware of that. You can't just be doing really random things all the time. A random risk only really works if you're playing solidly the rest of the time. So yeah, that's the first thing about grabs. Obviously, in the corner, they're extreme risk. They're a pretty big risk most of the time anyway. But sometimes, if the opponent is playing really well, they will force Zero Suit to go for the grab, because they can move around pretty decently. I'm just doing this with one hand, so forgive me for just moving around stupidly. Yeah, if the opponent is shielding really well, if they're shielding and parrying your nairs and zairs, they will force you to go for the grab eventually. So, once you've got the grab... So, first of all... Forward throw is kind of the go-to throw at lower percentages, but below about, I don't know what it is on Crom, probably about 15, maybe a bit higher, let's go with 20. Okay, so below about 20, it will not force the opponent to tech, and that also means that they can't DI it, so whatever happens with Crom's animation here, that's what will happen every single time you do a forward throw. And that of course means that he can shield whatever it is that you're planning to do after the forward throw. So, once they're above the tech percentage, so at this percentage they'll be forced into tumble, so it can cause a tech situation. Every single character in the game can avoid this by DIing up. So all that Crom has to do is hold... Crom's a fast faller. All he has to do is hold up and hit jump. Or, I'm going to really struggle to do this with one hand, but I'll give it a go. Which is... Oh, I think I can only talk with this controller. Okay, never mind. Yeah, or so he can either double jump, or he can land with an aerial and then shield, or he can air dodge into the ground, whatever. You can always avoid that tech by DIing up. It doesn't matter which character we're talking about, even the fastest fallers. And people who know what they're doing against Zero Suit will be able to react to that. I know that I can online. I pretty much always react to being grabbed by Zero Suit and just immediately DI up. So, with that in mind, your focus so you can test the water, as it were, against any opponent. You can see if they pass that DI check. If they fail it more than once, then you know, feel free to do as you please with your tech chases. You know, if they're just being forced to tech every single time, then yeah, do as you please. But if you get that forward throw once, twice, and you notice that they're DIing up, then you have to think about what it is that you're going to do to punish the next thing that they do. Because these things are still punishable. If the opponent has to double jump, then they have to land. In which case you can do whatever. Again, gravity's going to pull them down eventually, right? So you still have control over the situation if your opponent has been forced to double jump. The more common thing, I don't know if I'm... Hang on, let me see if I can grab... Yeah, oh. Okay, I just disconnected my Switch. I hope it's okay. So let's get this on. Can I... Okay, the Switch is back on, I think. Can't connect controller. No, that's not going to work. Why can I not connect the controller? Would it work if I... I'm gonna... Hang on. Technical difficulties. Forget it. I can demonstrate it anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to have to ask you to imagine that I do a forward throw here, opponent goes into tumble, and they just throw out an aerial before they hit the ground. So what you want to do in this situation is punish the landing lag of the aerial somehow. So Zero Suit against Chrom, for instance, she will need to say mostly out of the range of his sword, because he'll do something like throw out a forward air before he hits the ground, or a neutral air. But of course that has landing lag. In the case of Chrom, it doesn't have very much, but it still has some lag. About 10 frames for most characters' aerials, say. And that can be punished. And you usually have time to punish it with something like a neutral air. So they land with an aerial, you hit them with a neutral air. If you're not so confident with the neutral air, you can go for a Zair instead, and that will also lead into a combo. At slightly lower percentages, so again, at 0%, the forward throw is not particularly useful because your opponent won't be able to go into tumble, and they will be able to react. They'll be able to act not long after you can. So it basically just resets neutral at lower percentages. There's no guaranteed follow-ups. Your opponent can just shield. But back throw will send it to tumble at any percentage, and that has no guaranteed follow-ups either, but it still forces your opponent to do something. So I'd say probably the most common things that opponents do is they'll either double jump backwards, like this, or they'll land with an aerial. And again, those things can both be punished. Even though you don't get a direct follow-up out of it, you still have the advantage because your opponent has very limited options. I mean, they can just land and not tech if they want to, but they tend not to do that, and again, can still be punished. Right, so actual tech chases. Let's say that you do get the opponent with a forward throw, and let's say that they do manage to tech. So what can you do? So a very common thing that I've heard said about Zero Suit is that you never tech in. Okay, let's try and do this on the other controller. There we go. Is that you never tech in, and that is a lie, because Zero Suit can do a lot of damage regardless of where you tech. In some situations, the tech in is bad, but in some situations, the tech out is bad. Some situations, the tech in place is bad. I think I made a joke about this once. It was like, you know, oh, that would never have worked if your opponent hadn't been an idiot and teched in. And then you show them what happens when they tech in place. Oh, well, that wouldn't have worked if they hadn't been an idiot and teched in place. Or what if they tech away? Oh, well, that wouldn't have happened if they hadn't been an idiot and just not teched at all. People are very often wise after the fact about this. The fact is that Zero Suit can do a lot of damage regardless of which way you tech. So, if they do tech in, obviously you can get pretty much whatever you want. At this low percentage, down smash is not particularly useful because you won't get many powerful follow-ups. So I think like 20... Oh, so this is going to be hard. I do actually do this for my videos, by the way. I'm holding one controller in one hand and doing the Zero Suit things in the other hand. It takes a lot of takes. You don't see the failed ones. So if I hit them with a down smash, okay, so I can just about get a forward air at 20%. Oh no, that's bad. Maybe not. Not sure. Maybe I'll slow the first time. Anyway, regardless, at these lower percentages, down smash isn't going to be that great. Pretty much always what you want after your opponent has teched, regardless of the direction they tech, you guessed it, is neutral air. Because at this percentage, if they tech in, you get a neutral air into a forward air, whatever, you get a lot of damage. So it's not just the throw, it's also the neutral air plus whatever you get off the neutral air. If they tech out, this will have to be a slightly higher percentage on Crom because he's a fast faller. And I'm not going to be able to do this in real time. You're just going to have to trust me that Zero Suit is fast enough to do this. She is. So if you do a forward throw and they tech... hang on. So if you're in roughly this position and they tech out, she gets an air flip kick. And Zero Suit is fast enough to do that. If the opponent techs out, she can hit them at the end of their tech animation and she gets a neutral air flip kick, which is why taking away from Zero Suit is not always the smart thing to do. Thank you, commentators. Taking in place can work, but again, she can hit you. She can hit you with the neutral air with the tech out. She can sure as heck hit you with the neutral air if you tech in place. She can hit you with a neutral air regardless of where you tech, and therefore it's bad. Because if Zero Suit hits you with a neutral air, it's scary. That's how she works. I always tell people that they can't tech in. That's just cruel. I am gonna link this video as much as I can, this specific section, to undo that. Don't be mean like that. Nah, it's just kidding. Zero Suit sucks. Anyway, so neutral air is pretty much always what you want to hit with a tech. A common thing that I see people going for is the forward throw, and then they'll immediately start charging Paralyzer. And this is just something, like, I am tempted to do it myself a lot, and I do it myself a lot. Against a capable opponent, it's never going to work. Because they'll just DI up, and they'll be right in your face. Once you've finished Paralyzer, they'll hit you with a near forward smash or something, and you'll die at 60. So going for the immediate Paralyzer after a throw, there's not really any reason why you would ever do it, right? It gets you a bit more damage, it can look fancy, it's easy. I think that's why most people do it, because just holding B is a lot easier than guessing which way they're going to go with Nair, and the Paralyzer will tend to cover tech in and tech in place in some situations. It won't cover tech away. But why are you going for the Paralyzer in the first place? It's so that you can hit them with a neutral air. So you might as well just do that, right? You maybe get 7% more damage with the Paralyzer, but at the end of the day, it's all about hitting the opponent with the neutral air to get that big combo or the kill off the side. So it's nearly always better, and indeed, you know, when you see top players playing Zero Suit, if they ever get this forward throw, they don't try and go for something immediate like, you know, charging a down smash or firing a paralyzer. Instead, they're watching the opponent to see what they do, and if the opponent manages to DI up and avoid the tech completely, they're trying to punish that. And if they do have to tech, they're just trying to guess which way the opponent is going to tech and hit them with a neutral air. Because, of course, if you guess wrong, it doesn't really matter all that much. You miss the punish, but neutral air is unpunishable itself. So, unlike this, which is very punishable if your opponent double jumps and they can just come back in swinging, if you decide to just neutral air, you can shield immediately, and there's no way that your opponent will be able to hit you in time. So that's pretty much always what you want to do for the tech reads off of throws. Okay. Oh. Need to sit. Okay. I think I'll talk about that later, actually. Right. Let's go to the ledge trap. So, ledge trapping with Zero Suit is kind of hard. She's not the best ledge trapper, but I would say that she has a fairly solid game plan for the ledge trap. You do have to improvise a little bit. It's not a question of, you know, just take this or whatever, you know. But she has she has an interesting flowchart, I think. So, to cut a long story short, the core of Zero Suit's ledge trap is the down smash, because if she stands a certain distance from the ledge, I'm probably going to get this wrong first time on Chron. Hang on, I'm just doing this with one hand still. Oh, actually, I still can't do get up attack, can I? Okay. I think, again, you're just going to have to imagine this. So, if Zero Suit stands... I can't do this with one hand, help. Okay, there we go. So, if she stands a certain distance from the ledge, which is about here, for most characters, it will vary, because every character has a different ledge get-up animation, different ledge attack animation. If she stands here, then she can cover 3 options. She can cover neutral get-up, she can cover get-up attack, and she can cover ledge roll. Because the invincibility on ledge roll... okay, this is going to require some coordination. Okay, the invincibility on ledge roll runs out... I can't do it. Okay, let's see if I can... Okay, there we go. Okay, it really doesn't want to down smash while I'm holding the other controller. Okay, I will get this. I need to demonstrate this. Okay. So the down smash will hit the ledge roll, even if they manage to get through you like that. So, obviously at this lower percentage, the down smash is not particularly great. It'll lead into forward air, maybe up air or something like that, but it won't lead into landing air flick kick or anything like that. So at this kind of percentage, like, you can still threaten the down smash because it's pretty safe, but mostly what you want to be fishing for is the neutral air to get into the flick kick. And that will be quite difficult to hit at lower percentages. It's part of why Zero Suit is not, in my opinion, a great ledge trapper, because at these percentages, it's just very difficult to do anything that's that scary to the opponent. But she can still do plenty of stuff. She can cover any character's ledge jump, because she jumps incredibly high. She's incredibly mobile, so she can go back and forth. But the thing that you really want is the neutral air. Like, you can get random back airs as well, and they'll do the job of sending the opponent off stage. But at the higher percentages, of course, if you hit the opponent with a down smash, they're dead, because the boost kick will always work in that situation, even if hang on, let's see if I can push Crom aside. So like, it's going to be difficult to replicate this, but you remember when Crom rolled through me and he was on the other side, even if they end up on the other side, you can run through them and do the boost kick from the other side. So down smash will cover neutral get up attack, roll get up, and if you hit them with it at anything above about 80%, it's a guaranteed kill. So the down smash is the core of the ledge trap, particularly at high percents. But of course there's a glaring omission there, well, two really. Down smash will not cover jump get up, and it will not really cover double jump attack from the ledge, which a lot of characters are very good at, including Zero Suit herself. Go frame by frame to show Crom's ability. Yeah, that's a good idea actually. I will do that. Good idea. So, can I... Oh, he's definitely going to fall off. Okay, so let's display... Let's... Can I zoom the camera out a little bit? Why is it so zoomed in? Okay. Okay, there we go. Right. So, if you're standing about this distance, Crom does the ledge get up, so whenever he's blue, he's invincible. So he's vulnerable there. Okay, I'm not going to hit that in time because that was too slow. So really, yeah, maybe a tiny bit further back next time. Yeah, so maybe this kind of distance, yeah. Okay, so yeah, we've shown that this will hit roll. If you space it just right, it will also just hit regular get up. So let's try that. I think this will be close enough, it might not be. Yeah, it's definitely close enough. Okay. So of course on neutral get up, your opponent is only vulnerable for one frame. So whenever he's blue, he's invincible. So if I do a neutral get up with him, well, that's a very kind of laboured looking get up. I mean, I still couldn't do it, but compared to other Smash characters. Okay, so he has one vulnerable frame there, and then immediately after that he can shield. But the thing is that down smash is active for 4 frames. I think it's 4. Somebody correct me on that if I'm wrong. So that means that you have a pretty big window to actually hit this, because as long as one of the active, as long as one of the 4 active frames of down smash coincides with the one vulnerable frame on Crom's get up, or indeed any character's get up, then the down smash will hit them. So down smash is best at covering neutral get up. But it will also cover get up attack and roll if you space it correctly. But it won't cover jump get up, and it won't cover drop down double jump from the ledge into an attack or anything like that. So that means that you have to do other things to cover those things. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky. So jump get up is the hardest thing for Zero Suit to deal with, because it's not very easy for her to intercept a jump, a high jump with an aerial. She can do it, but definitely other characters find it easier. So if I set Crom to jump, say. So you're just going to have to imagine that Crom is jump get upping here. So I can intercept that with a forward air. I can intercept it with a back air. So if he's on the ledge. Okay, so he's going to keep doing it, yeah. Oh, he does jump get up from the ledge as well, that's nice. Okay, so he does jump get up, I can intercept it with a back air, forward air, whatever. So those things are possible, but they're pretty hard. Back air is only active for 2 frames. Forward air is notoriously, I mean, it does that. A lot of the time it won't properly connect if you do a rising full hop forward air, based on the opponent's momentum. Back air is typically your best bet. It will kill the earliest. It's really safe. and if it misses, it doesn't really matter. It's very easy to just throw out a back air and just retreat and give up on the ledge trap. But that does mean that you've pretty much given up on the ledge trap at that point if the back air misses. Or if your opponent goes for a neutral get up or anything else. So the ledge trap is all about kind of trying to get your opponent to do what... I'm just going to stop him from jumping because that's really distracting. Trying to get your opponent to do what you want them to do. So, common thing that I do that works surprisingly often is, you know, you kind of go, I'm going to hit you with this back air. You better not jump get up. You better not double jump from the ledge. Boom. So the trick is basically to force your opponent, to scare your opponent into doing a neutral get up or a roll get up or whatever, so that you can hit them with the down smash. You can hit them with the back air, and that might kill them. It won't kill them as early as the down smash, and it will be more difficult to hit, but it's something. As for the double jump, hang on, I'm not controlling Crom at the moment. So if he double jumps back on stage with an aerial, that's kind of the same interaction as when you forward throw the opponent and they DI up and they land with an aerial. You're looking to punish that with your own landing aerial, and Zero can do that pretty well because she's very mobile, so she can do it with a neutral air. At this percentage, it will be difficult to get a true follow-up off it. So she will struggle to get the back air at 80%. She might be able to get flick kick if the opponent DIs dodgily. Hang on. Charlotte knows my secrets. Oh no. Yes, but she has plenty of other things in her arsenal. So Zair works pretty well. So if your opponent is at like 80%, you can get a Zair and that will hit them back off stage, or it will put them right in the corner, in which case you can get a boost kick after the Zair. See if I can... So, I don't know. I have to be a bit... Yeah, it's going to knock him too far. Zair will start sending them into tumble at about 90%. And of course, random tumble animations suck, but I'm just going to have to deal with it. And you can get a decent killing move off of that as well. Up smash won't kill at that percentage. Crom is actually a bad character to demonstrate this on. I should have picked a floaty. Yeah, so he's not going to... I don't think he's going to get hit by that until... yeah, maybe not at all, actually, unless he hits that tumble animation. Yeah, that's going to be really hard. Anyway, so Zair can lead into its own kills. Crom's not a good character to demonstrate, but Zair into back air is pretty effective, especially at the ledge. You could actually... could even just get the... hang on. So, and that's not going to connect, but it puts your opponent in a bad spot regardless. Forward air is a good thing. So, like, if your opponent does a double jump aerial into you, you can get the forward air into back air for the kill. But the easiest way to deal with it, if your opponent does a double jump aerial, so when they do that, a lot of the time the aerial will not be particularly well timed. If it is, then you know they've done it really, really well. But they might miss it by 1 or 2 frames a lot of the time. Your easiest way of dealing with that is shield, and then you can be out shield. Particularly because, like, when an opponent double jumps back in with an aerial, particularly if they're a character like Crom, which doesn't have high aerial acceleration, they will be holding forward, they will be pushing into your shield, and they will land very close, and you can just up the out shield. Do I attack cancel or instant Ra? I tend to instant Ra, but honestly it depends on my mood. I tend to just use Ra because that was the thing back in Brawl, and I'm a dinosaur. Yeah, so the ledge trap. Basically, the core of it is the down smash, because it covers 3 options, and it's safe, and it's quite easy to hit. To deal with the other options, you have back air for the jump Getup. If you're feeling really confident, you can go for a boost kick against that. You have your landing aerials against the double jump back in, or you have shield and boost kick out shield. You have a couple of other niche things as well, like your side B. Obviously that'll kill at about 110% at the ledge, depending on the character. Skills really high with base. Yeah, Zero Suit's there. So I think it does send Crom. I won't test it now, but yes, it does send them into tumble at much earlier percentages if you have rage. So like, I think it will send the average character into tumble at about 60 or 70 with rage. Yeah, so that's pretty much all there is to it with the ledge trap. It's mostly about the down smash, but of course you can't just be doing it all the time, because your opponent will just keep get-upping and you'll never hit them. So you've got to pay attention to what your opponent does to avoid it. You can throw out other random things like side B. Side B is kind of punishable. If your opponent roll get-ups and it just so happens to not hit them during their vulnerable frames or whatever, they will be able to punish it. They probably won't be able to punish it very hard though, so it's not something to... Yeah, you can definitely use it, but it's harder to hit in general, and it won't kill as early, so it's a mix-up thing that you don't want to be using too often. Okay, so the edge guard. Oh, this is going to be difficult. I'm just going to have to put them on stop and do my best. So again, Zero Suit, she's not particularly great at edge guarding. She has an amazing recovery. She's extremely mobile off stage. She has a lot of options. She doesn't have many particularly threatening things off stage. The things that work best off stage tend to be things like lingering hitboxes or giant hitboxes, neither of which she has. She has small, precise hitboxes. So her forward air is kind of the main thing that she wants to do for the edge guard. Let's use... he's not going to do it. CPU Crom. I'll tell you what, maybe I'll actually change character for now. Because I'm getting sick of not being able to demonstrate specific things. Why did I pick Crom? He's stupid. Let's go Darkseid. Okay. So let's get Dark Samus to maybe 80%. 85, 86. Yeah. Let's put her on stop. Still moves on. Okay. Okay, she's going to try and tether. Let's use forward smash. Yeah, don't ever use forward smash. I'm just using that to send her at that angle. So forward air is the best thing that Zero Suit has, really, for edge guarding. And as any Zero Suit player knows, it can be kind of hard to connect the second hit, which is the one that you want. So sometimes you'll just... okay, I actually have fails to not hit both hits, so... I don't know if I'm gonna try it. I'll try one more time. Yeah, so you'll often get something like that happening, where you'll hit them with a forward air, but it won't connect the second hit and they'll get back. In general, back air is a lot more threatening off stage. It has much higher base knockback than forward air, so it will kill a lot earlier. I mean, back air will kill... Hang on. Off stage, even against characters like Dark Samus, it should kill at maybe 70 something, I should think. Yeah. Hello, Marco Guerra, how are you doing? And Oh gosh, I'm not going to try saying that name, sorry, but hello. What about Side B for edge guarding? So Side B is a thing that you can do if you're feeling confident. Sometimes you will get what's just happening there, where it will partially connect. And if it partially connects, that's actually really good because it can semi-spike your opponent, and a lot of characters it will just straight up kill. I've just switched off of Crom, but if you hit Crom at like 0% and Side B just semi-spikes him, he will just die. He can't make it back. Dark Samus is a little bit different, maybe. But I'm trying to get the semi-spike again. But of course, you can use the strong hit as well. The thing is, the strong hit of Side B will not kill until really high percentages, typically. So, like, even with no DI at all, the opponent... I mean, I think the CPU also... I'm gonna have to throw her off stage with... So, like, you can see, even with no DI at all, at 115%, the strong hitbox of Side B is not going to kill. So, Side B is good, like, if your opponent gets sent really far off stage, or if they're otherwise getting just careless off stage, they're just taking their sweet time to come back and staying really close to us, having to predict when she's coming back. I mean, even then, that only just killed. So it can work like if your opponent is really close to the blast zone, but it is quite easy to DI. So if your opponent gets hit by Side B, they will tend to want to DI it kind of up and in, and they'll just go really, really high. And Zero Suit is not that great at punishing high recoveries. The thing that she's best at is punishing these kind of horizontal level recoveries where she can easily hit them with her forward air and back air. So low recoveries, obviously, flip kick can sometimes work depending on the character. Actually, you know what? Maybe I will switch back to Crom after this. Yeah, aerial Side B is just a very, very weak kill move. It's not designed to be a kill move. So the flip kick. This is always a bit of a risk, but particularly for characters that have vertical recoveries that take a while. So any character which kind of slowly flies upwards, or if they have a recovery like Crom's, which is like fairly easy to get the timing for, you can use the flip kick spike. So the flip kick spike, it's active for 4 frames. So yeah, something like Crom's recovery, you can kind of wait for him to be in position. I did it way too early then. So you can kind of wait for him to be in position and then go for the flip kick, because you should be able to react to it. It can be difficult sometimes. I managed it the first time and none of the other times. Okay, let's try one more time before I embarrass myself. Okay, there we go. Not on stale moves either. So it's particularly good basically against characters that kind of take a while to recover vertically. It's almost not worth using against characters with big upbeat hitboxes like Shulk, Lucina, Marth. It's just very, very difficult to hit them before they hit you. It is possible, and usually it will trade if you manage to do it. You can use it on sorry, not tether recoveries, teleport recoveries. You can sometimes get a 2-frame. It's always a little bit of a risk, though. I'm often surprised at how often top-level Zero Suits get away with this. If you do a flick kick in that kind of position, you're actually vulnerable for quite a long time. It's pretty easy for your opponent to just smack you off the ledge for doing that. But it's not really something that you should be afraid of using, because again, your opponent's going to be on the ledge. The worst thing that you're going to get hit by directly is something like a forward air, and in most cases, maybe minus Captain Falcon, that's not going to be particularly life-threatening. So it's definitely worth using. Meta Knight. In my experience, it doesn't work very well against Meta Knight. His up B is just a little bit too big. He also has just far too much control over when exactly he does it. He has too many jumps. He has too many different options. He can just tornado to the ledge, or he can side B to the ledge, or he can down B to the ledge. Meta Knight can do almost whatever he wants off stage. Yeah, I don't think the flip kick spike is ever really worth going for against Meta Knight. It's best against a character like Chrom, who has very limited ways of getting back to the ledge. I am very out of practice in this. There we go. It used to be that I could hit it most times. Yeah, it's best against characters that have very limited means of getting back to the ledge and a very predictable timing. And it is great in those situations. You can hit your opponent off stage, and if they go really low for whatever reason, 50%, then the stock is yours. Congrats. Okay. Right. High percentage kills. So, a lot of people tend to struggle with killing with Zero Suit. High percent. Optimal ledge trapping. I just spent about 15 minutes talking about ledge trapping, so if you want to go back and watch the rest of the video at any point, it'll be there. Just before the edge guarding. Bro, how do you edge guard with Zero Suit? Well, I just talked about that a little bit. The short answer is that it's kind of hard. Whenever you get a moment, do you have any tips, tricks, or advice with regards to killing with Bear? I find connecting with Bear on other characters a lot easier than the Zero Suit. Yeah, well, it will be. So, the hitbox on back air is not particularly big, and it only lasts for 2 frames, so it's pretty hard to hit. Something to bear in mind if you didn't know already. No, that's okay, don't worry about it. I'll probably not talk about it again for the rest of the thing. Okay, so back to back here. If you didn't know already, it has a sweet spot at the tip. And the sweet spot will kill a lot earlier than the sour spot. Chrom's gonna die anyway because he's under my control at the moment. So you generally, you want to be spacing the back air for the tip if you possibly can. That'll make it safer as well. If you hit their shield with back air and immediately land with the tip, it's completely unpunishable. I think it's like -5 on shield, something like that. But she's far enough away that she can avoid most moves that are that fast. They don't have that kind of range. So really you want to be spacing the back air at roughly that position. It's stale now. It's obviously more difficult here in the air, but the thing that I think the takeaway with killing with back air is that you shouldn't really be discouraged if you don't manage to hit it that often, because it doesn't really matter if she misses. It's pretty safe. And if your opponent's in the corner, you can kind of just keep throwing it out, and there's not really a lot they can do. If it doesn't hit and you end up resetting to neutral, it's just whatever. It doesn't really matter. She has a lot of confirms into the back air at high percentage. Oh, that's forward air. So forward air to back air is really strong. That will start working from about maybe 80. Yeah, so I didn't hit the tipper there, but you get the idea. I mean, that'll probably end up killing anyway. So forward air to back air is really great. She also has up air to back air, which is pretty good because the up air is really safe. So she can throw up air out quite a lot. She can use it for catching jumps, and it's like, I think it's still -2 on shield. which is ridiculous. A lot of people, a lot of people don't realize that, as the up air is actually safer than neutral air now. So up air to back air, I think, in most scenarios, will kill earlier than boost kick. So even with DI, that will kill at about 80, 85 at the ledge. So I do remember labbing this at some point. I don't think I ever really talked about it. Technically, like, her earliest kill from a down smash, hang on, I'll just lower the percentage a little bit. Her earliest kill from a down smash is actually down smash up air to back air. That will kill even earlier than just regular old down smash to boost kick. It's pretty hard though, and your opponent can DI it, so I mostly only do it when I'm feeling super confident. Usually a boost kick is just better, and there's not really enough difference in it for it to be worth it. Okay, so I was going to talk about other high percentage kills. So a lot of the problem that people have with killing at high percent with Zero Suit is that it's kind of hard to get a decent hit confirm. So obviously Zero Suit, she has a lot of kill moves that some of them will kill quite late, so Up Smash will kill at about 130, maybe a bit earlier. Yeah, so maybe more like 120 on Chrom. She has her side B, and I mean, I'm not even going to mention forward smash. She has down smash, which will lead into anything. I suppose that's more of a hit confirm. So up smash, side B, back air, they're kind of her sort of kill moves, where you just throw them out once, and you know, if they hit, the opponent dies. And they can be kind of hard to hit. Up smash is a bit of a risk. It's not that unsafe, but it kind of has to be a hard call out a lot of the time on your opponent's jump. Side B, if your opponent does jump, they can just jump straight over it and they can hit you. So it's always a little bit of a risk. You can move around with it like this to make it safer, but it always takes a while, and more importantly, it takes 25 frames to come out, so your opponent will be able to react to it most of the time, and they'll usually just shield it. Same with back air. She has to jump first, so your opponent is, if you're doing this in front of the opponent, they're expecting you to do one thing. Just throw out that back air, and that's reactable as well, so they can shield to that. And then of course, she doesn't really get any kills off of grabs, so your opponent will mostly just keep shielding. So what do you do? Well, she still has pretty safe moves that she can throw out in neutral that sort of confirm into kill moves. Obviously, the main one being her Zair. So the kill percentages, let's put Chrom back on 90. Yeah. At kill percentages, this will start sending into turn, but a bit higher. Bit higher. Oh, I thought... Oh, have I gone to stale there? I think I've gone to stale there. I didn't reset. Okay, so let's just keep it at 100. So this will start forcing tech situations. Not against all characters. I actually don't know if Chrom can... Can Chrom avoid that by DIing up at this percentage? Not really. So he will have to tech that. But it's still not a guaranteed kill, and that's the problem. Because your opponent can just tech that whichever way they please, and you have to guess. So typically, like, if you go for this Zair at 100%, the default thing is to go for the down smash, because it will, if you time it correctly, it will punish both mistech and neutral tech. So if you practice that timing, you will hit either. But there's just so many other things that can happen, like particularly against characters that don't fall as fast as Chrom, or if you have rage or whatever, they might be able to jump, or they might be able to throw out an aerial before they hit the ground, and then there's all of the different directions they can tech. Basically, it's far from a guaranteed kill if you're going for tech chases off of the Zair. So you can get a lot of moves directly out of Zaire. So if you time it really well, you can get landing Zaire. Sorry, landing Zaire into boost kick if I can do it. Yeah, so that wasn't a true combo. So maybe, yeah, there we go. So if you land it a bit closer, it's a bit easier, obviously, because you don't have to run forward anywhere near as far. The problem with this is that it's a little bit hard. It's almost impossible to know the exact percentage at which your opponent will start going into tumble. For the Zaire to boost kick, you generally don't want your opponent to go into tumble, because if they do, I don't know if this actually will happen. Yeah, so sometimes if your opponent misses the tech, you can hit them with the boost kick. Sometimes on a lot of characters it will just miss. And of course then if they do tech, you're in big trouble because you've gone for a really risky move. Basically, if you're going for Zaire boost kick, you really don't want the opponent to go into tumble. And it's kind of hard to guess that because Zaire's the knockback scales a lot with rage, so it's not like you can say, oh, this will definitely happen at 90, because it will depend entirely on your rage, how much Zaire is staled. So you can still use, like, Zaire, I would say, is still her most important high percent kill opening, but you just have to be a little bit smarter about it. You have to pay attention to how your opponent decides to avoid things. If they're a floaty character, they will usually tend to double jump or land with an aerial, and again, those things can be punished. If they double jump, let's hang on. If I switch to a floaty character, what do you like to do against very short characters? Okay, I'll talk about that after I finish this. Don't let me forget. Remind me if I need reminding. So if I set the CPU to jump, can I get Dark Samus to jump here? Okay. 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 Okay, so she's not going to jump if I as well. Never mind. Okay. So you're just going to have to imagine that they double jump. So you can hit your opponent with a Zaire at these kind of percentages if they're a floaty character, and you can do something like combo straight into up smash. And that will be a true combo against most floaty characters, but even when it's not, their only option to avoid it really is either a really fast nair or a double jump. Sorry, or an air dodge. In which case, like, an air dodge is still going to be pretty bad for them in that position. They will tend not to do that. And the up smash will not be particularly punishable if they air dodge, particularly if they directional air dodge. So something like a Zaire into an up smash is pretty good. Zaire into back air on floaty characters is also a thing. You can still get Zaire into boost kick if you're lucky, but yeah, so that was a true combo. The slight problem with that is that boost kick has a blind spot between hit 1 and hit 2, so you might see me kind of go straight through Dark Samus hit. Oh no, I got lucky there. Yeah. So that doesn't actually hit a lot of floaty characters in that position because hit 2 will just be too high. So up smash and back air are definitely better bets in that position. The main problem with back air, I don't know if you noticed, is random tumble animations. So if Samus goes into that tumble animation, it's quite easy to hit her with a back air. But then if she goes, let's see if she does it. Nope. 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 If she goes into that tumble animation, she's a lot lower and the back air will just go straight over her head. There's not really anything you can do about that. It's random. 6 frames. Don't know what that is. Yeah, so it's random, but the thing is, again, it doesn't really matter. It may mean that you don't win the game quite as early, it may be one missed kill opportunity, but it is only a missed opportunity. It's not really bad for Zero Suit because she can keep throwing out that Zare, and it doesn't really matter most of the time. It's unpunishable in a lot of situations. And if you miss the back air, again, it doesn't really matter. It's very safe. She can afford to take that risk. Yes, it works best on already airborne characters. Like, a lot of the time, if your opponent happens to be airborne, then, it will just be luck whether or not you hit them with the Zare. Well, this is just very situational, usually planning to hit the opponent on the ground. Zare into forward air can sometimes work. Yeah, if you hit it from any kind of distance, it's pretty difficult to get it to true combo. Also, if your opponent gets a little bit too aggressive, if they like to land with aerials or something, you can just go for a side B after that as well. They may be able to double jump and punish you for that. Floaties, probably not, though. They probably just don't have enough time to punish that most of the time. In my experience, they don't. I think a lot of things do revolve around getting that back air at high percents, a lot more than you might think. Just because it's just one of the safest things that she can do. So getting that landing Zare into the back air, or getting that landing forward air into the back air, or just getting the raw back air, it's just a very safe way for Zero Suit to score kills. So the main thing to bear in mind is, like, if you're struggling to kill, you're Zero Suit, and your opponent is struggling to hit you at all. So you can just keep doing this, and take your time, be patient, just throw out your safe things for the kill, and eventually it'll come. If your opponent gets predictable in some ways, then you can do random up smash callouts. It's not that unsafe, can kind of be punished, but you shouldn't be too afraid of doing that if you're confident that your opponent is going to do something. Is there anything I haven't mentioned when it comes to kills? I mean, up air is also pretty good. Fishing for the kill. I mean, up air will combo into any kill move. It's pretty safe on shield. You have to get quite close, but it's just got so little landing lag that your opponent might try and punish it, and you can then upbeat them out of shield or whatever. But up air will combo into most things. Combo into back air, boost kick. Fair one into flick kick is kind of a thing. I wouldn't recommend it in most situations though, because you can't react to your opponent's DI. So if your opponent just DIs down, let's see if I can get Dark Samus to do this. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of. Can I just get? Yeah, that's gonna reduce her knockback. Hang on. Okay, let's just try and I'll just try and do it slightly late. So if your opponent DIs down or you miss for whatever reason, then you've just done a flick kick off stage, which is bad. Your opponent can edgeguard you pretty easily after you've done that. So the difference between like fair one into flick kick and nair into flick kick is that nair will send them slightly higher. It's much more difficult to DI. You can get the flick kick a lot more regularly. Also, it will be at a lower percent, so the DI will matter less. And most of all, you can react to it because the hit lag on neutral air is a lot greater than it is on forward air 1. So you can be pretty sure that you've hit it. With fair 1, sometimes you can't, depending on the situation. It's difficult to know. A lot of the time you will still know, right? Because you will know before the fair even hits that it's going to hit in a lot of situations. But sometimes you might not. It's a niche thing. It can sometimes work. It's particularly good against floaty characters like Dark Samus. It's particularly good against big characters. In general, I would not recommend it against fast fallers or small characters. So, speaking of small characters, so you're certainly not the first person to ask about how to deal with small characters, because it's pretty hard for Zero Suit to deal with small characters. Most of her worst matchups tend to be them, I think. I know that every character main says that, so I'm kind of on the bandwagon there. Whatever. So the main thing that you have to do with small characters is just be patient, because a lot of your moves will just whiff. So going for your regular nairs, zairs, you'll be missing them a lot more often than you will against other characters. Like, you know, DK, you throw out a zair anywhere on stage, you can be fairly sure that it's going to hit him. But with a character like Pikachu, hang on, I'll just switch to Pikachu. Anyway, then you're going to be whiffing them a lot more, and that's what makes the matchup hard for her. It's going to be hard, but you just have to be patient. You have to stick to using your safe things. Don't be tempted to use your unsafe things because you think that they might hit. So neutral air will still hit even the smallest characters. I don't know if I'm going to be able to... I'm going to make Pikachu crouch. Yeah, I can just do that if I hold it there. Okay, oh, no, he's walking forward. Hang on. This is really hard to do. That's up. Okay. Maybe if I wedge it there. I can do this. I hope you're having fun. There we go. So your neutral air will, if I can get it frame perfect, yeah, there we go. So it will hit every character, even the ones with the really low crouches. So I'm pretty sure it hits Kirby and yeah, it hits Kirby and Jigglypuff if you space it correctly and you hit it the frame before you land. I don't know how lenient that is. Maybe it's 2 frames before you land. Hang on. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it's still too early. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so maybe not 2 frames before you land. Can you use your toes to make Pikachu crouch? It's hard. I did try that first. I've just wedged it into my microphone now, and that's I hope you enjoy this. What about up air? Well, you can just about hit up air on a crouching character. I don't know if that would hit like Kirby. Maybe not. So a character like Kirby, Kirby's a special case because Kirby can't really do much about this. I maintain that Zero Suit Kirby is one of the most boring matchups in the whole game because Zero Suit, if she commits to anything, she loses. She just kind of has to do this and there, random forward airs in case Kirby jumps, and just stay the heck away from him. Pikachu obviously has far more diverse ways of dealing with that. Generally don't really want to use side B against Pikachu. It will clank with T-Jolt, so if I get... yeah, so side B will clank with T-Jolt, and it will often make Zero Suit kind of do that flinching animation. It depends which hitbox you hit them with exactly. Yeah, so it'll hit them, sometimes make Zero Suit flinch like that. And of course, most of the time when Pikachu does that, he's going to be jumping. A lot of the time jumping towards you, and if you do a side B and it clanks with one of those T-Jolts, it's a disaster. Pikachu can get a really big combo off of that, so you want to avoid using it. Zair will just keep going, because it counts as an aerial and it won't trade, so it'll just keep going. So that's generally a bit more useful against projectiles from short characters like Pikachu. Up smash will still hit, and a lot of the short characters will commit to jumps anyway. So up smash is still fine against the smaller characters. You'll find it a lot harder to get the sort of random killing landing back airs. Forward air isn't too bad. Forward air's hitbox is slightly below Zero Suit's leading leg, so it's just a little bit easier to hit on the small characters. I tend to do this quite a lot. It's easier to hit than Nair, I would say. And forward air 1 leads into the exact same things that Nair 1 leads. Just Nair leads into. So you should be able to get most of the same combos, particularly at low percents. It's a little bit riskier because obviously you have to space yourself closer to them, and it's got more landing lag. Doesn't aerial side B also keep going through T-Jot? Do you know what? I actually don't know. I assume it does, because I don't think I've ever seen the aerial side B clanky animation. So I'm going to assume that it does. Which is hard as I'm asking someone a date or now crouching Kirby. I mean, yeah, I basically just don't use neutral air in the Kirby match, so there's no point. There's no point in trying to commit to anything like that. Just do not interact. DNI. Right. Anything else about short characters? I don't think so. I think you, to some extent you do just have to accept that it's going to be hard. You don't really change your game plan all that much in general, I would say. You're going for the same things, you just need to be more patient. So you do still want to go for the neutral air, it's still her primary objective. You just need to be a little bit more passive, and you need to wait for the hit to come. Sometimes it might be a while. That's how it be. Okay, anything else with high percentage kills? I don't think so. Okay, so let's talk about disadvantage as well. I think this is the last thing I have on my list. I'll need to go in about 10 minutes. So we kind of touched on this briefly near the start. When Zero Suit is in the corner, you need to be very careful with what you do in this position, because obviously she's really light. She'll die pretty early off the side, and a lot of the things that you might be tempted to do are pretty risky. So her grab, it's a very risky thing to do. Even her side B, if the opponent just jumps over it, which a lot of the time they will, if they have you in the corner, they'll do, you know, like Cloud or something, will be just jumping here and throwing out aerials at you. Doing anything that's particularly laggy in the corner is just a bad idea in general. So including grab, side B, up smash. Her main good offensive option is forward air. But again, it's pretty predictable. Your opponent will see it coming probably. The main thing that she wants to do when she's in the corner is just get out. Your primary objective in that situation is to just escape the corner by any means necessary. Anything that you do can be read. That's the whole point of being in disadvantage. Your opponent can technically cover anything that you do. Obviously, Zero Suit is good at jumping. She has a high jump. She falls fast. She has her flip jump to get her out of the corner pretty well. Still punishable, but again, pretty good. Your main focus should be to get back to the center, not to hit your opponent or go for random reversals with things like grab, because even if you do hit your opponent with a grab, hang on, that's the wrong one. So let's put my opponent on 100%. Oh, music's getting scary. So say it's Pikachu. I grab, I go for a really risky grab at 100% and throw him off stage. Great. Pikachu can recover from that, easy. So I've done 10 damage. Great. And I've gained the ledge. That is not worth the risk of going for a grab and Pikachu just avoids it by jumping over it, and then hits you with a forward smash and kills you at 60, or whatever. I'm just going to turn the music down a little bit, it's a bit loud. This is the problem with playing any kind of sort of classical music of any kind, is the dynamic range. So yeah, in most situations, going for that grab is just an extremely risky thing to do. You don't want to do it. Don't do it. I see so many people do it. How is being a maths teacher right now? It's fine. Yeah. Maths meta is a bit more slower moving than Smash, I would say. In my sector, anyway. Okay, so back to the corner. Yeah, primary objective is just get out by any means possible. Above stage, right. So a lot of these are kind of just general tips for any character, but Zero Suit has obviously her own specific options. So if Zero Suit gets hit up and she's in hit stun, she has a lot of options available. She can either double jump, or she can air dodge, or she can directional air dodge, there we go, or she can flip jump. And which of those that you might want to use will depend on the exact situation, but more generally, you don't really need to be spamming an option out of hit stun as Zero Suit. If you watch particularly high level play with Zero Suit, they will not tend to react immediately out of hit stun. Most of the time they don't need to, because she's a fast faller. Anything that your opponent does that is guaranteed, they're just going to do it most of the time. Even if you input nothing, they'll just go ahead and do it. The worst thing that can happen is if your opponent has something that's guaranteed and you try to avoid it with an air dodge and your opponent says, ah no, and reads that and hits you with something even worse. There are some situations in which air dodge will be best, but most of the time for Zero Suit, no. Particularly offline, when those kind of things are easier to react to. Zero Suit's air dodge is most powerful in this situation, when she's been knocked high up and then she's coming back down, and she can do a fast fall air dodge back to the stage. It's really strong when she's doing that, because she can move really... Look how far she can move when she's doing that. And she can land with basically no lag. So that's where neutral air dodge is really good. She has some great attacks to land with as well. People talk a lot about flip jump being, you know, the most broken thing in the world out of disadvantage, but really it's not. It's her aerials that are the amazing thing out of disadvantage. So she has her up air. The reason why you want to use an aerial out of disadvantage a lot of the time is to stop being in tumble, right? So I don't know, if I get Pikachu to hit me with a forward smash, let's say 25, because he'll charge it, won't he? There we go. Okay, so you can use something like an up air to immediately get out tumble and hang on and land, and then you can just shield immediately. So up air is really good for that because it's so fast. It can hit your opponent if they get careless, because it's got a pretty big arc. And then obviously if you hit your opponent with an up air, then it's go time. What else? It's just got very little lag as well, so you can just land with it, and most of the time your opponent will not be able to punish it. It's got 5 frames of landing lag. It's ridiculous. That's barely... normal hard landing lag is 4 frames. So up air is pretty good. You don't want to use it all the time though, because again, it has some lag to it in the air. If you just spam it out of hit stun, as I sometimes do, your opponent can just easily punish that. She has her Zair as well, which is really good. If she holds away from the opponent when she gets hit, she can land with Zair. If she pushes back in, that's going to do too much damage. yeah, she can land with Zera and then get a combo out of that pretty easily. I thought people used up air out of hitstun because they think they're crap. No, I mean, it's really good. It is really good. So it gets you out of tumble fast. You can fast fall immediately. It's pretty dangerous and it doesn't really have any landing lag. It's amazing. It's an amazing disadvantage tool. She has her Zera as well. She can land with side B if her opponent gets careless on the ground. I'm just going to stop Pikachu from forward smashing. She can land with forward air if she wants to. She has a lot of options for aggressive landing. She's just so difficult to punish when she's landing, which makes perfect sense because, you know, most of Zero Suit's most dangerous things come from landing aerials. So the flip jump. So the problem with the flip jump, of course, is that if your opponent hits the start of it, then you don't have a flip jump. And you're also locked in the animation for 40 frames. If the opponent is pretty fast, if they're playing a fast character that can juggle, like Fox or Cloud, flip jump is a lot less useful. It varies a lot from character to character. If they're a slow character that doesn't have particularly big hitboxes, like, I don't know, who's slow and doesn't have big hitboxes? All the characters I'm thinking of are fast. Let's just go with Kirby again. Kirby's fairly slow, doesn't have big hitboxes. Flip jump will get you out of trouble most of the time. Against a character that can juggle really well, that's fast, like Fox, Joker, Cloud. If they don't hit you immediately, they can just react to whichever way you go with the flip jump, and they can punish that. But obviously, like, it is still very useful. You just don't want to be spamming it out of hit stun all of the time. Because if your opponent, if they hit the start of it or the end of it, then you don't have a flip jump. And particularly if they hit you off stage and you don't have a flip jump, Zero Suit's recovery is pretty mediocre without the flip jump. It takes away that biggest option that she has, and you're a lot more predictable off stage. Okay. So, off stage. Okay. So, of course, when recovering with Zero Suit, you have a lot of options. She has a really high double jump, she has a good directional air dodge, she has a flip jump, she has a tether, and she has her boost game. She has a lot of options. So why are you always doing this? So flip jump back on stage, it is very good. It's fast, it gets you back where you want to be very quickly, it can sometimes put you above your opponent, and if they get careless, if they're not shielding or throwing out an attack, you can even bury them, particularly if you do it like this. So it's good, but it's punishable. And if your opponent reads it and hits you out over here, again, say they're Lucina or Marth, and they're just going at the ledge, and you just stupidly flip jump into them, then you're going to be dead at 40. And for nothing. You could have just not done that. So that's the biggest thing that I see a lot, is just this flip jump back on stage. It can be used, but you just need to be very careful with it. And understand that if your opponent reads it, or if they're a good ledge trapping character and they can just throw out all of these attacks and randomly hit you without even reading it, then you're going to die really, really early. And Zero Suit should never be dying really early off stage. She has one of the best recoveries in the entire game. It's pretty embarrassing. So, when do you use flip jump? Well, one of the best times to use flip jump is really far off stage. So let's bring Pikachu over here again. Let's get Pikachu to just do some side smashes. Is that high enough percent? Yeah, it might be. Okay. Okay, so in that position... Actually, I'll need to turn up my own percent. Let's go to 40. Okay. A bit higher. Okay, so in that position, flip jump back on stage, or flip jump towards the stage rather, let's turn it up a little bit more, is really, really strong. Wow, that's a big difference. Hang on, let's go for 60. Okay. It's really, really strong because... Is he charging at different amounts? Yeah, there we go. Because your opponent cannot directly punish it in that position. There's no way. Because they've just hit you, so they're going to be in lag. They'll have sent you really far away. I wish that he didn't charge at different amounts. That's really annoying. They're going to be really far away. They're not going to be able to directly punish it. It gets you really close to the stage, really fast. So, like, if you look at the horizontal distance that I travel there... Okay. Okay. So, that puts me really close to the stage really, really quickly. And also... hang on, let's give me 200%. Also... oh, I held up. Whoops. Okay. Hang on. Okay. Also, if your opponent gets careless, you can even hit them with the flip kick spike. If they just kind of charge out after you, trying to punish this flip jump, they're going to get hit by that. Most of the time they won't even be able to do that. They won't be able to get anywhere near you. So what flip jump does is it just immediately decreases the distance between yourself and the ledge from the blast zone, and it's... because it activates immediately, it's almost as good as directional air dodge for pushing yourself away from the blast zone. You can actually survive till higher percentages if you just do it immediately. So that's a situation that it's really good in. It's also pretty good... I'm just going to turn off the smashing. There we go. It's also pretty good going straight to the ledge, like this. Sorry, wrong. Because it's invincible for the first for frames 3 to 12. So for a lot of the arc, it's going to be very difficult to hit. And if you do it from kind of slightly under the stage, your opponent isn't just going to hit it when they're throwing out their random ledge trapping moves like this. And it's pretty hard for them to hit it, honestly, from below the stage as well. So it works pretty well in that situation. It works when you're down low, because it can just put you really close to the stage, and then you can do your double jump up B. Double jump up B is very hard for a lot of characters to deal with. It's quite a disjoint hitbox, and it snaps the ledge really easily. And if they get careless on the ledge, you can hold down and just hit them for it. It'll virtually never kill them, but it'll let you get back on stage. So, the tether. The tether comes in when your opponent has just hit you with something, and there's basically no way for them to possibly continue the string or combo if you tether to the ledge. Because tether to the ledge is insanely quick. So look how quick that moves. She just immediately goes from being out here, and if you press up immediately on the controller, she just gets back to the ledge insanely quickly. So if your opponent is, say, here, and they hit you with the haymaker or whatever, then you can just tether to the ledge, and there's no way that they will be able to hit you in time before you get your invincibility on the ledge. And that is so much better than just doing the flip jump back on stage, which your opponent will be able to hit and quite possibly kill you for at very low percent. As a general rule, I like to tell people, if you can get back to the ledge and it's impossible for your opponent to hit you, do it. Like, that is usually preferable to any other risk that you might want to take involving, you know, jumping straight back on stage, or landing on stage, or flip jumping on stage. It's usually preferable to just accept that you're in disadvantage and tether straight to the ledge. Because Zerasu is really good on the ledge. She has an amazing jump Getup. She has an amazing double jump aerial. She has double jump there, if I can actually hit that without killing myself. So she can either do that landing or she can do it rising. She can even do jump up side B. She has a wall jump, so she can mix that up. She's so good on the ledge. She has so many different options. A lot of them are pretty dangerous. So getting to the ledge is pretty good. If you manage to do that, then you shouldn't be too worried. So yeah, in basically any situation, if you can get to the ledge and there's no way that your opponent can hit you, it's better to do that than to risk going back on stage immediately and your opponent intercepting it. So that's what Tether is really good for. And their Tether, of course, is much better than her side B Tether, which is much slower. Quick question about that. So a lot of people ask me, like, you know, my Tether doesn't seem to be working a lot of the time. Why is that? So Tether works by, like, there's an invisible box around this ledge, and when Zero Suit uses Zair facing the stage, if she is in that box on, I think it's frame 2 of the Zair's animation, then it will grab the ledge. If she's in that box on frame, I think it's 20 of the side B, she'll grab the ledge. So there's a big difference. It's like an 18 frame difference between Zair and side B. The advantage of side B, of course, is that you can do it facing away from the ledge. What else is there? Oh yes, so with the Tether, obviously, like, you have problems if your opponent runs off after you. If they have time, that is. Most of the time they won't. But if they run off after you, then if they get in the way of you and the ledge, the Zair will not tether to the ledge. But in most cases that doesn't actually matter, because even if Zair misses, you still have your double jump up B. So yeah, I can force Zair to miss by holding down. Hang on, I have to do that really quick. Okay. I did it once. Anyway, even if the Zair misses, you can just do your double jump up B to the ledge, and that's still really strong. It's really difficult for a lot of characters to do anything about that. Casimir, I anticipated your question. Yeah, so they can do that, but the thing is that it's pretty dangerous for them to do that against Zero Suit. They might get hit by the Zair themselves, and they're putting themselves off stage when Zero Suit can very quickly get back to the stage. If they run off after you, that is actually a good opportunity to just flip jump back on stage as well. Like, if you know that they're going to run off after you, or you react to it, then you can just flip jump over them a lot of the time, and that's really bad for them. So Tether will work in most situations, and if your opponent tries to interrupt it from down low, you can just go high. You can just react to that. Okay. So, I think I will have to leave it there. It's 8 o'clock, so I have to go. I might come back and do another stream like this. I actually found this pretty fun. I think that covers everything that I wanted to talk about. If anyone has any other questions, fire them in the chat within the next 30 seconds, and I will answer them. Yeah. I'm just trying to think what else I might go over in the future. If I did. I think I've covered everything that I really wanted to do. I'll probably cover combos at some point. I didn't really talk anything about combos. Maybe I'll do that, because I still get a lot of questions about when to use nair flip kick, nair fair flip kick, back air stuff, ladder combo stuff. I just feel like I've talked about those a lot in the videos, but I do still get to, yeah. I was wondering when dash attack is supposed to be used, and not a lot of the time, really. Dash attack is good as, it's just a very situational thing. If your opponent is getting careless kind of in the air, landing, and you need to force yourself into a better position, and dash attack is the only thing that will hit, then it can be good for, you know, just breaking that and resetting neutral. If you're looking for a hit, if it's neutral already, if you're in neutral, dash attack is almost never worth using. because there's always something better that the Zero Suit can do. You should be looking for your landing aerials, not your dash attacks. Am I going to have a replay? Yes, this replay should upload automatically to YouTube. If it doesn't, I have it recorded and I might edit out some of the more cringe moments. I don't know. Battlefield strategies next stream. Yeah, I could probably do that, and I could probably throw in some talking about ladder combos as well. That ladder combo video that I did was a little bit out of date by now. So, firstly, of course, boost kick got nerfed, and then I think I started to understand more about how to place the up airs after that video. I think everyone else did as well. Yeah, so I think I'll probably do that. I'll do another stream in the future talking about the more advanced combos. If there's anything in particular you want me to talk about, you can comment on this video or on my tweet, or just at me, harass me on Discord, whatever. My Discord is open, it's fine. So other than that, which controllers do I use? So if you look at my, I think it's Elite Smash with ZSS Part 2 video on my YouTube channel, I cover my controls in the first part of that video. But what I will say is that controls are just a very personal thing, and whatever works for you is the correct controls for you. Yeah, everyone is different. Some people play with default controls, and I have no idea how anyone does that. Yeah, I use tilt stick personally, and I tend to use L jump quite a lot. Those are the main things, I think. Right, so I'll have to go. Take care, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the stream. This will be up, like I said, and I'll probably be back at a later date to talk about combos in a live stream, and you can ask me anything you like. So until then, I'll see you next time.